All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the NNP Symposium and Central States if you are here in person. As you may know, the symposium is fully sponsored by EPNIS, the Eric P. Newman Numismatic Education Society, so we're very grateful for them. This is the second year we've partnered with Central States to have a hybrid event in the spring. We have a fully virtual symposium in the fall. So for this hour, we are joined by Greg Rohan of Heritage Auctions. He's been with them since 1987 and is now the president. He's handled more than $1 billion of property for consigners throughout his tenure there and has appeared as an expert on CNN, CNBC, Bloomberg, Anderson Cooper, ABC, and CBS. So we're very excited to have him speaking on the current numismatic market. We will do a Q&A at the end. So if you're in the room, we'll take your questions then. If you're online, you can send them in at any time. We'll be getting to them at the end of the presentation. So that's it for me. Greg, I'll let you take it away.
Thank you very much. And thank you to everyone at the Eric P. Newman Numismatic Society, Education Society, and everyone at Central States for making this lecture series possible. I think I looked at the lineup of all the other speakers, and it's just a wonderful gold standard for interesting areas of numismatics to be covered. My hat is off to Mitch Ernst and everybody at Central States and everyone at the Eric Newman Foundation. So I've got good news. Everybody wanted to know how the coin market is today, and I am happy to report that by and large overall, and we'll get to the specifics, the coin market is alive and well and very, very strong. And why is that? Well, first of all, gold is at or near an all-time high. And you might say, well, that's great for bullion coins, but what does that have to do with rare coins? And it has a lot to do with rare coins because people see in the media, they see on the news, they see in the newspaper about the price of gold going up and up and up and up, and that people are turning their attention to tangible assets, and it puts gold at the forefront of their minds. And so when people who are thinking about buying coins or people who are already collectors are thinking about adding to their collections, the dealers that they're working with are able to say, you know, look, the price of gold keeps going up. You know, the coins aren't getting any cheaper. And there are, of course, a large number of coins that are not purchased, they're sold. And what I mean by that is if you are a collector and you're looking to complete a set, you are buying coins. But if you're an investor and you are talking to marketing companies that are marketing coins to you to save in for a rainy day or doom and gloom, you are being sold coins. And so when the price of gold goes up, the people who sell coins have a reason to call you and say, you should have bought last month. You could have made money. I called you and told you, are you going to let this one get away? And so that adds a lot more demand for coins from marketing companies who play a very big role in selling coins off the market to collectors and investors. Stock market's near an all-time high. What does that have to do with coins? Well, if you're like me, I look at my brokerage statement. I feel richer today than I did a year ago. And I'm not selling those stocks and I'm not cashing in my 401k, but I feel wealthier. And so I feel like I can justify buying a coin or a banknote because it's just the profit that I've made in stock market appreciation. That's a big part of it. Some people, of course, are selling stocks and taking their capital gains and redeploying those assets. They're seeing that the price of gold has gone up, the price of coins have gone up. They're seeing that their stocks have gone way up, and they're saying, gee, maybe I want to take some money off the table. Maybe I've got too much money in the stock market. Maybe I want to take some of that and add to my coin collection and diversify my investments at the same time. That makes a lot of sense as well. Thirdly, for more than a decade, we couldn't earn any interest on our money. You'd put it in the bank and you'd get 0.3% annually. It was a joke. But now, for the last 2 years, you can buy CDs, treasuries, or even just put in a high yield savings account. I have a high yield savings account I get 4.7% on. I have CDs I'm getting 5.25% on. That's real money. And I know a lot of collectors that have justified that they're buying coins with the free money that I'm getting every month that I never used to get. So if you're, let's say you've got, I don't know, $100,000 CD, you're getting $5,000 a year in interest that you were not getting a few years ago. If you've got $1 million in a CD, you're getting $50,000 a year that you never used to get, $5,000, $4,000 a month. And a lot of people who are collectors look at that as that's my coin spending account. And it's really had a really positive effect. Now, the entire market isn't strong. Rare coins are strong. The things that you don't see every day are strong. But coins that I call buses, if you miss this one, another one will come along. Those, I see weakness in that market. I really do, because people are focusing more on rarities, condition rarities, and actual rarities, and wanting to put their money towards those type of coins and letting the buses go by, because there'll always be another one. Among all the collectibles, of course, and heritage is in 50 different areas of collectibles, whether you collect first edition books or rare manuscripts, Mickey Mantle baseballs, American paintings. There's about 800 people that work at Heritage in all the different departments. And whereas coins and currency are by far our largest business. And of course, it is my first love and my partner's first love, because it's what we started Heritage with as a coin company. It's what we did as kids. This is my 51st year setting up at a coin show. I set up at my first coin show when I was 11 years old. And so I love looking out at this room and seeing teenagers and other young numismatists. And we're going to talk about them in a few minutes, including you, Kurt. The trends that I see going forward, that was a good segue into young numismatists, is that only in the last 3, 4, 5 years, have I really seen an influx of young people. For all of us older people, look around. Look at these teenagers and 20-somethings who are here in the room for this lecture in the middle of the day at Central States. Look at the people that are attending Whittercoin University. Hundreds and hundreds of passionate young people, boys and girls, who are really interested in coins, who are going all on scholarship to Whittercoin University. Look at the P&G's Next Gen Mentor Program. That didn't exist 2 years ago. And walk around a coin show like this. You know, if you'd asked me 3 years ago, I would have said, it's a pretty graying hobby. You know, I'm standing in the back of the auction room and I'm seeing a lot of white hair. Now I see a lot of white hair, but there's also a bunch of acne. And that's a great thing. That's a really great thing. So when I started off, when I was 11 years old, and I was a precocious teenage coin dealer that drove my parents crazy, I'm sure. We lived in a small town, 2 hours south of Seattle. For me to have any engagement whatsoever with other young people interested in coins, I had to go to a coin show 2 hours away at minimum and hope that there would be a few other teenagers there. There was no interaction whatsoever for me to have. I used to run ads in CoinWorld. I started off with small classifieds in the back. And by the time I was 15, I was running full page ads. And I met dealers who are now my contemporaries, who are close to my age, by writing letters back and forth and occasionally talking long distance on the phone at night when the rates went down, about Mercury dimes or silver dollars or Buffalo nickels that they wanted to buy that I was advertising in my CoinWorld ads. But that was the only way that I ever talked or had any social interaction with anyone my own age when I got started in coins. So imagine today the Facebook groups for all the different people who are interested in every different type of coin, all the Facebook dealing groups that all the young people are on. If you live 2 hours from any major city in a town of 5,000 people like I did, today you're in constant contact with other teenagers and other young numismatists all over the world, trading secrets and trading tips and asking questions. And for nerdy kids like I sure was, you know, what an amazing opportunity to bond and to learn from people your own age. And I think that's like the best thing that's happened to bring young people into numismatics is the social media that allows them to deal with each other, to deal with adults, and to interact and to learn. I think it's a wonderful thing. When we started HA.com, we started our website. We started it in the mid-1990s. And for those of you who have heard my talks before, you'll roll your eyes because I've said this before, but it's absolutely true. We have a board meeting once a month at Heritage amongst the owners and top executives. And back in the mid-90s, when the internet was going, somebody said, you know, we should throw a couple $1 million at building a really whammy-jammy website and loading it full of content and giving it away to coin collectors for free. They'll have to register, so we'll be able to market to them. And then when they decide to sell their collection, they will feel warm towards us because we had been this fabulous resource throughout their collecting journey. And hopefully they'll feel more predisposed to sell their collection with Heritage at that time. We thought, oh, that's a good idea. Nobody will ever do any business on the internet, but we should throw some money at building this website. So we did. And before we did that, we had what we counted as 17,000 people on our mailing list, client list. And today, just online, we have 1.8 million, and they're in all 195 countries. Literally, by putting millions of prices realized on HA.com, by putting content, articles, Mark Borchardt, who's in the room here, has written many of them, an extraordinary numismatic scholar. It has become the go-to place for people who are interested in coins. And nothing really has made us happier than to see that. It is the most highly trafficked website in all of collectibles on the internet. The most highly trafficked. Now, eBay is a platform. They don't count as a website. They are a platform for other dealers. But HA.com has more visitors than all other coin auction companies combined on a daily basis. We have something like 60,000 unique people a day that visit our website, and they stay for an average of 11 minutes. And that includes the people that just are looking for Heritage Cablevision and hit our website for a second. We then, after we started the website, thought, well, this is great. The world's speeding a path to our door. What if we started online bidding so people could bid online? And so we hold the patent for online bidding, which you must be thinking, oh my God, you guys must have made a fortune. They haven't made a dime. Nobody has ever paid us a penny. But we do have the bragging rights that we were the first ones to get a patent for online bidding. Everybody else has been able to tweak it a little bit and get around the patent. That's okay. Bidding on HA Live leveled the playing field for everybody. It used to be, before you bid online, that the only way for you to bid in an auction was to mail in a mail bid form and hope that nobody else mailed in a form with a higher price than what you wrote on your form. And of course, you wrote on the piece of paper what you wanted to pay for something. With the advent of online bidding, you got confidence all of a sudden, seeing people bidding against you with real money just like you have. And whereas you thought you wanted to pay $10,000 for that coin, now you see other people bidding $12,000, $13,000, $14,000. So you kind of feel it's okay to bid $15,000 because there's all these other people bidding $12,000, $13,000, and $14,000. And so that made prices go up. Prices go up, brought more collectors out to sell their collections. So that gave us more flow of collections coming through to offer. More collections coming through to offer meant more collectors were flocking to our website to look at the collections that we were auctioning. And it really turned out to be a fabulously successful thing. One of the things that we see, though, is an aging demographic. There really is. The average coin collectors that are collecting in a big way are generally people who have their kids are out of college. They've got some extra income. So that means they're 50, 60 years old. And their heirs don't want their coin collection. How could they not? I know. We all think, oh my God, why don't my relatives all want to talk about my coin collection? I bet they really want it. Of course they don't want it. They want the money. And so that spelled, bad news on the horizon for the coin market, with an aging demographic if there weren't new young people coming along. So heirs don't want coins. People wisely, the wisest people, I think, sell their collections during their lifetime, or with extremely explicit instructions, or with negotiating a contract with an auction company before they die, in order to get a stepped up basis if that's what they need for tax purposes. But most people who do the best sell a collection during their lifetime, and they enjoy the process, they enjoy being involved in it, they enjoy the recognition, and they enjoy seeing coins that they bought a long time ago sell for multiples of what they paid for. Who doesn't love seeing that? And that way they can control the process, they can control what they can see what they get for the coins, and they can decide what to do with the money. Trying to divide up a coin collection amongst heirs is a nightmare. You can't do it. Cash divides really easy. And there's no hard feelings. Because really, who wants hard feelings? I mean, you can't, I've told this before, but Bob Merrill, who started our auction company in 1976, when we had our very first coin auction. So we've been doing coin auctions for 48 years. Bob always tells me the story of going out to see two sisters who each inherited a part of their dad's coin collection. And Bob told them that the collection was worth between $80,000 and $90,000. And the woman got very angry and said, "Stop lying to me. I'm going to consign it to you, but don't tell me some ridiculous high number just to get me to do business with you." And Bob said, "Man, that's not the way I do business." He says, "It's worth $80,000 or $90,000 like I'm sitting there. And if you don't believe me, I have a check in my briefcase. I'll write it for $70,000 right now and hand it to you." She looked at her sister and she says, "This doesn't make any sense." And Bob said, "Why doesn't this make any sense?" He said, "Well, because my dad had the dealer that he dealt with, a prominent dealer, divide the collection up three ways. And our brother took his 1/3 into town to the coin shop there, and he sold it for $25,000. So if we each have an equal 1/3 share, how could his 1/3 be worth 25,000 and my 1/3 be worth 75,000? And Bob explained that your brother's nicked. The collection, the lady's share did bring right about $90,000, and her sister's, who she consigned to her immediately afterwards, brought a touch over 100,000. So I'm sure the girls loved rubbing that in their brother's face, but that was a shame. That was hard to see. One of the things that we've noticed really in the last year is that U.S. coin collectors are starting to embrace world coins and ancient coins like they never have before. And I think that we owe NGC a debt of gratitude for their certification of ancient coins, which has made it a lot easier for U.S. coin collectors who are not ancient coin scholars to understand quality of ancient coins. So our world coin business, our world coin engagement, our ancient coin engagement, the number of new clients bidding on world and ancient coins has gone up significantly. I can't speak for other auction companies, but I can tell you that the crossover from U.S. coin buyers to world and ancient coin buyers at Heritage, because we track everything we can, is really noticeable. The other thing that we've noticed is that in world coins, there has not traditionally been the huge price differential between grades that you see in US coins. And now we're starting to see it in world coins. Literally coins that are selling for double what they sold for just a couple of years ago, when they are among the highest grade. I think that's only going to continue to, the highest graded coins are only going to continue to rise for the most part. I think that trend is set, that people want the highest quality, and there just aren't enough coins out there in the highest quality, and that the spread between grades is only going to continue to get wider. That's my own opinion. The other thing that we've noticed in US coins, and I realize I'm skipping around here a little bit, but is I think David Hall actually had this idea of the box of 20. And if it was somebody else, my apologies, that came up with the box of 20. And what that was, a PCGS box holds 20 coins. And so whoever it was that had the idea said, buy the 20 best, coolest coins that you will love owning. And don't waste your money on common things, because the coolest, best coins that are out there, you will love having them. And when you go to resell them, somebody else will love wanting to bid on them. And a lot of somebody's will, and you'll do the best by buying the best you can. And I see a lot more of that. I see a lot more people who are buying trophies, and one person's ceiling is another person's floor. A trophy for one person might be $2,000, and for another person it might be $200,000. For somebody else it might be $2 million. But buying the very best coins, also not buying for investment. You want to make an investment, go buy treasuries or CDs at 5.25%. Compound interest is the seventh wonder of the world. But coins provide an amazing look into history. I was a US history nerd as a kid, and I love that aspect of coin and currency. And so friends have come to me who are successful people in other areas, and they've said, let me give you some money. You guys seem to be good at the coin business. Let me give you some money. You can buy me some coins, and when we can sell them for more, you tell me how we split the profit. I said, yeah, we don't really do that. I said, if you want to learn about some coins, I said, let me do this. I said, I'll give you an armload of books, and I'll schedule a time, and I'll lay out on my desk all the different kinds of coins that I think might be interesting, gold coins, type coins, and see what floats your boat, see what interests you. No, I don't want to be a coin collector. I don't have time for that. I said, yeah. I said, we really don't sell people coins just that want to give us money and have us pick out the coins and hope they go up. Because if they don't go up, they get mad at us and sue us. And if they do go up, it was because they were geniuses. So been down that road too many times. Not doing that. So in the description of what the organization asked me to speak about, the reason I'm speaking rather fast is because I was originally asked to speak about the current coin market. So at this point in the conversation, I would be done. Except in the explanation, it said he will also talk about auctions, advice for buying and selling, and certification. So I have to give you your money's worth here, and cover each of those three areas as well, which I will do because we have time, and we'll still have time for questions and answers. So auctions are, of course, I'm biased. We're in the auction business. We're the largest coin auction company in the world. And I love the coin auction business because that in a transparent company like Heritage, who discloses the reserves. So we disclose the reserves, and early on, when we started disclosing the reserves many years ago, the dealer said, oh, we're not going to give you anything to sell. We want the reserves to be hidden. Nobody will bid on the coins if you disclose the reserves. Well, of course, that's completely false. If somebody puts a reserve on something and somebody else is interested in buying it, it tells them what it's going to take to bid on it at a minimum. And so they can do their research and decide whether they're comfortable or not. Whereas other companies that have hidden reserves, usually what will happen is it hits that number and you hadn't planned on it hitting that number, and you're a deer in the headlights because you haven't planned on it going for that kind of money. It also doesn't respect people's time. And my partner and co-founder of Heritage, Jim Halperin, who's originally from Boston, Jim's father knew Ned Johnson, who started Fidelity Investments. One of the great American success stories, probably certainly one of the biggest Boston success stories ever. And Jim noticed that Fidelity made it easy for everybody to deal with them. I deal with them, I have for decades. And he thought that they respected people's time and they were completely transparent about what they did. And so he directed Heritage decades ago that we would always be transparent about whether there were reserves, if there was or wasn't, and if there was, how much they were, and we would respect people's time. And of course, as the internet has just consumed people's time now, you want to make it as fast as possible. Yes, you want to have someone standing by. If someone calls on the phone, I want to have somebody that will at least call them back in a timely fashion. But more often than not, in this fast-paced international world that we live in, we see people all over the world bidding in all hours of the day and night. There's a man who is a fabulous collector of currency, Dr. Andrew Shiva from New York City. And he has announced that he bought currency in our last fun auction while he was on a photo trip in Antarctica on a boat, pushing the bid now button. Love that. We hear from people all the time out on boats or in airplanes, hitting the bid button. So you want to make it easy. Auctions are great places. You can see what you're interested in. You can bid from anywhere. Even people who are in the same town or at the same place oftentimes prefer to go back to their hotel room or back home rather than sit in an auction room for hours waiting for the one item they need. They'd rather be watching television or visiting with their spouse or having a nice dinner, rather than sitting and waiting through hours and hours of auctions that they don't care about, waiting for that one item that they are interested in. I collect national banknotes on Washington State, where I'm from. National banknotes are sold alphabetically. So by the time they get to W, I am nodding off. So thank heavens I can bid online or place my bid ahead of time, a proxy bid ahead of time online. Advice for buying and selling. Advice for buying and selling is to go careful. Too often we see someone who gets interested in coins and they want to jump in head first and buy everything they see because it's so fun and so interesting. And oh my God, I can't believe I can get a silver dollar from 1795 and it looks so great. And I'm like, whoa, slow down, slow down, slow down. You know, I tell everyone to take their time, look up and see what the coins are being offered have sold for previously on HA.com. There's millions of price records on there. And now some of them are old price records. If it's not a coin that is sold recently, you have to look for what the current market is and look at what other price guides are, which are also available online. But before you jump in, look and see how much is the coin being offered to me for, and then look and see what similar coins have sold for at auction. That's the absolute best way of determining what something is worth. And the same is the case for paintings and rare books. That's how people determine what the value is. So now, how much should you pay over what something sold for at auction? You know, I look at things that I collect, and if it's something that is really rare that I really want, I'm willing to pay 30% more than what somebody may have paid for it at auction. So if it's $10,000, if somebody bought it from inventory for $10,000, I'm willing to pay $13,000 to put it in my collection. I'm not trying to sell it for a profit tomorrow. It's something I need. It's something I want. It's something I'm passionate about. $13,000 seems fine to me. $15,000, no. But you can also get a very good idea looking at HA.com on those price records as to how often the coin or note is offered. So if it's something that hasn't been offered in years and years and years and years and years, then you might have to stretch higher. But if it's something that comes up pretty often, maybe 12,000 is a better number. So you'll figure it out. But educate yourself, read as much as you can, talk to as many people as you can, and find a couple dealers to deal with who aren't just trying to sell you stuff right away, who will invest some time. And you have to be respectful of their time too, because they have a business. They've got overhead to pay, and they're there to make money. But the most successful dealers that I know of take the time to work with someone like they would want to be worked with themselves on something they collected. And they will show you what this coin sold for at auction or what a similar one did, how much they want for it, what the rarity is. Something else that's more common, maybe if you're on a tighter budget, you should wait and only buy something that may not come along before and save your money and buy the more common thing later. And then turn it around on the dealer and offer him a coin back. Tell him you decided, find a coin that you've upgraded or that you really decided you don't want anymore, and see what the dealer will offer you back for it. Make them put their money where their mouth is and see if they're lying to you. And I'm not saying that coin dealers are liars. It's the same in anything else. It's the same with jewelers or art dealers or realtors or anybody. there's good people and there's people that stretch the truth. And you don't want to be dealing with one of the ladders. There's so many good people to work with in numismatics. Find one. Talk to other collectors that have been successful. A lot of them let their names be used on auction catalogs. If you happen to be at a show and you see one of those people, ask them their advice. Ask them, say, you know, I'm just getting started. I'm wondering, can you recommend a couple dealers that will treat me right, that would be fair with me? And I think they'd only be too happy to say, sure, let me take you over and introduce you to my friend, you know, here, my friend here. I would do that. And I will close by talking about certification. So really, in my mind, there's only 3 certification companies. There's NGC, PCGS, and CAC. And CAC, of course, we know has been putting stickers on coins for quite a number of years. The company was started by John Albanese, who was originally one of the co-founders of NGC. And CAC, originally with their stickers, their green stickers or their gold stickers, the idea is that they would look at the coin and tell you whether the coin was high end for the grade. So what I mean by that, and I worked at PCGS in 1987, the first year they started. I actually got my job at Heritage by winning a coin grading contest. So at that time in 1987, I'll back up for a quick second here. And Heritage in 1987 sold $50 or $60 million a year. There's 50 or 60 people that work there. Today, there's almost 900 people that work at Heritage, and we sold 1.7 billion last year. But back then, we were still the largest coin company in the world, selling 50 or 60 million. And at that time, Jim Halperin bought every coin, he graded every coin, and he priced every coin. And it was a 12-day-a-week job. And so Jim and his partner, Steve Ivey, who started Heritage and who is still super active every day, talked to him this morning, decided that Jim needed a protege to take some of the heat off, because our coin business was only going like this. And so PCGS had been around for a year at that point. So at a Long Beach show, Heritage brought 200 coins, PCGS coins. They taped over the grade of them and invited all the dealers who were in the room to test their skills against the 1-year-old PCGS grading service and see how they did. And I guess all the really good graders must have been off that day. And I did it, and they came over and congratulated me and told me that I placed first. And they wanted to take me out for dinner and make me an offer I wouldn't be able to turn down. And they did. And the next day, the dealers who knew Steve and Jim came to me and said, you know, you should absolutely do this. You will absolutely burn out after 2 years. They'll pay you really well, but after 2 years, you'll have a PhD in numismatics. Sorry, Don Kagan, who really does have one. But you'll be completely burned out because you'll work so hard, but you'll know so much that you'll go off and do whatever you want. I was like, okay. PCGS came to me because they heard that I had won this coin grading contest, and they offered me about 40% more money than Heritage did, and the Heritage offer was great. And I thought, geez, if I took the PCGS offer, all I'd be doing is going and sitting in a dark room all day, looking at coins and grading them according to PCGS's standards. That seems pretty boring. I was 25 years old. And whereas Heritage seems to be involved in everything, little did I know. And I thought the Heritage job sounds a lot more interesting. I'm going to do that. And that was 37 years ago. And I became Steve and Jim's first partner some years after that. So back to certification. You've got PCGS, NGC, and CAC, the 3 major services. And so what I would say is that don't lock yourself into one. I think you hamstring yourself a little bit if you say, I want all PCGS coins, I want all NGC coins, or I want all CAT graded coins. You want the best looking coin there is. You really do. We've sold 2 1885 trade dollars, a proof 66 that's kind of dark. It's a fabulous coin. And a proof 63 that's got hairlines. That's the most beautiful coin you've ever seen. I was talking to the collector yesterday here on the floor who owns the 85 trade dollar and proof 63. I mean, what a fantastic coin that is. You want to have coins that you love looking at. You don't want to buy a coin because it has a high grade on the holder. Now I know that because of all the competition, in the registry set land, you want to have the highest grade holder because that elevates your status in the registry, and that's great. But do it while also buying the best looking coin you can find. Because what I've noticed over the years is that when I first started in coins in the 1970s, the difference between a coin that today would grade MS60 and a coin that would grade MS63 and a coin that would grade MS65 now was minimal. It's like a few dollars between each grade. And yet there were some collectors back then who had a good eye, and they could pick out the gem coins. And so instead of paying, $140 for a coin that's now MS60, they'd pay $155 for a coin that's now MS68. How'd they do? Stan Kesselman, one person I'm thinking of. But there was a number of people like that. And I look at people who have fabulous eye-appealing coin collections. Bob Simpson, we're selling some fabulous coins at Central States for Bob Simpson. This is Bob Simpson Part 12. And so far we've sold about $115 million worth of coins from Bob's collection. And these are more. And the Simpson coins sell for a premium. And they're completely unreserved. He's never put a reserve on a single coin. And every single auction has exceeded his expectations, which are high, and our expectations. Every single auction across the board. Because he bought beautiful coins. He had a really good eye. Still has a really good eye. So that's pretty much all I have to say in my 40 minutes of taking you through the various aspects of numismatics. I'd like to hear whatever questions you have, and I'm really an open book. You can ask me about any.
All right, so we'll be taking questions both from in the room and online. There are already a couple online, so we're going to start with one of those, and then we'll come to the room for the next one. So let me find the mouse.
Okay.
There it is. Okay. All right, a question about technology. What technology innovations and trends are you seeing in the market? Which companies, besides Heritage, would you say are at the forefront of technical innovation?
I think that Certified Collectors Group is as committed as any company that I know of for being technologically advanced, and are committing millions of dollars to technology for all the areas of collectibles and certified collectibles and coins that they work with. I would say CCG is at the forefront. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone in the room?
Lynn.
Yeah, has there been any particular product category that really surprised you in terms of how much uptake you got when you started in that particular category?
Yeah, shall I repeat the question?
That one came through all right. You're good.
Okay. So, yeah, I would say that guitars were a big surprise. I had no idea. Guitars are one of the biggest selling items there is on eBay. Who would know? But guitars are just millions and millions of collectors around the world for guitars. And so when we started selling guitars, that was enormous. Natural history, fossils. Fossils are the one thing you can show them to anybody of any age, and they go, wow, that's cool. So fossils were one that surprised us a bit. Sports doesn't surprise me at all, but we're the largest in the world in sports. And when I am I divide my time equally between New York City and Dallas. I live in both cities. And we have 100 feet of windows on Park Avenue. If you are joining us, we just reopened our newly expanded gallery on Park Avenue between 56th and 57th Street. Please, you're invited to come by and check it out. It's fantastic. But we have 100 feet of windows, and we have things on display there all the time. And when we have sports on display, it brings the most people of any to the windows.
Can you speak a little bit on the exonumia market?
So tokens and metals?
Yes.
I love tokens and metals. I love tokens and metals because I collect national currency. So I collect national currency on every town in Washington State. So the banknotes can be really expensive. But if somebody then shows me a college currency or a Depression era script or a token from that town, I've got exonumia, obsoletes, tokens from towns that banknotes were made, but that don't exist. So that cures me temporarily of my desire for that banknote by having a token or metal. I think that market is fantastic because it is open to all price ranges. You can buy really cool tokens for $5 or $10, and exonumia as well. And in our Americana department at Heritage, I have seen the tokens and metals and exonumia that go through Americana because it's being offered to a worldwide audience who are under the Americana umbrella, bring multiples of what they would bring if they were just offered in coin catalogs. So there's a huge market from history buffs all over. And we think of just, numismatics, but it's really a worldwide interest.
All right, anyone in the room?
Hey, Greg, thank you for your time. What are your thoughts on the state of current coin shows as well as the future shows? I've been going to shows for maybe 4 years now. I kind of feel like they've been slightly declining the last 4 years, but what are your thoughts on that in the future of in-person coin shows?
Did that come
Yes.
through? Okay. So when I was your age, I used to go to 2 coin shows a week, sometimes 3. I'd look in the back of Coin World at when shows were starting and go to the ones that set up on Wednesday first, and then fly that night or early the next morning to one that set up on Thursday, and then get to one that set up on Friday. And I did that, to be 17 to 22 again. And coin shows were incredible then because there was no internet. That was the only way to trade coins. Now, people trade coins without ever meeting the people that they trade with. I know a lot of you guys, young people, you've been dealing with other young people across the country that probably for a year or two before you even go to a coin show and meet them for the first time. So I think that online trading has made coin shows less important, but I think that the social aspect, the educational aspect, like what we're doing here today, what the ANA does, exhibits, I think that keeps people engaged and interested in going to shows. So I have always said that even if I retired, I would still go to coin shows to see my friends. And so I think there will always be coin shows, but I think that they are being held to a higher standard, and that organizations like Central States, ANA, and Fun are leading the way in setting a very high bar for top-notch security, good educational experiences, and good exhibit experiences, and also for a good dealer experience, which brings in collectors and gives a good collector experience. I think more is expected of coin shows if you want the public to take the time to come in or to fly to go there.
All right, are you still a partial owner of CCG?
It's a great question. So, yes. So my Heritage partners, there were a number of shareholders of NGC originally. And when Blackstone, I think it's Blackstone, but when Certified Collectors Group sold the company, we sold 90% of our shares. So we still have a teeny little bit. But I will say that we are also, we're a huge customer of NGC, a huge customer of PCGS, and one of our partners is a shareholder in CACG, in CAC Grading Service. There's lots of shareholders in CAC Grading, and of course, we were shareholders a long time ago in PCGS, like a lot of you were when they were a public company. So,
all right, in the room?
Yes.
How many people collect coins?
How many people collect coins? I have no idea. I have no idea, but I know that
People you should know. Right?
no, but it's what? I don't know. It's like a great AI question.
Well, people like
I don't know, Mark Borgard, do you have any idea how many people collect coins?
not a clue.
Okay.
Yeah, we really don't.
But I will say that amongst all the collectible categories, that there is more transparency and less friction in coins than in just about any that I'm aware of. Your coins can be liquid instantly, and on a lot of coins, the difference between the buy and the sell price is a fairly reasonable number. So that makes coins a very attractive thing to collect or for people to have because of the low friction and the high velocity of trading.
Related question, what is the total size of the market and all these dealers, coin shops and auction houses? How much money do they generate per year?
Many billions, many billions. Yeah, the U.S. Mint has, through all of their programs, some good, some not so good, have done a good job of creating a lot of collectors. I don't know if you include the Mint in that, but there's world mints but it's people have been collecting coins, for 500 years, maybe longer. It's always been called the hobby of kings, and because so many kings, so much royalty collected coins. So it's certainly one of the top hobbies there is. Ma'am?
Right.
Speaking of AI, are you concerned or excited about the use of AI to grade coins?
That's a really interesting question. I find AI fascinating, but to answer you on point, I know that when I'm looking at a coin to grade a coin, my mind is going 100 different directions. It's looking at the strike, it's looking at the toning, it's looking at the eye appeal, it's looking at the placement of the bag marks. A bag mark right there in the cheek of the coin, really bad. A bag mark the same size buried within the eagle on the reverse of the coin, not so bad. I think it's going to be quite a while. I think it's going to be difficult, but I'm never going to say never, because I fed a 56-page. I had somebody at Heritage download a 56-page document into AI yesterday, and in 1 minute, it gave me a really amazing 2-page summary of what the document said. So it's going to be interesting.
All right. Then coming from online, what is your opinion of the stamp collecting market?
Yeah, I started collecting stamps before I collected coins because neighbors and friends would travel and give me stamps. I think that the stamp collecting community has shot themselves not in the foot but in the head by not embracing certified grading. The markups are obscene for the most part. Now there is certified grading. There are very legitimate stamp auction companies out there, a number of them, but I would only buy certified stamps, and there aren't that many of them out there. And I think that the stamp dealers need to embrace certified grading, or they are going to cease to be relevant. I think that for example, if the average age of a Lynn's Stamp News subscriber was 76 this year, it's going to be 77 next year. It's too bad. I love stamps. I think stamps are really cool.
So you were talking about how you have the big three for grading, PCGS, NGC, and now CAC grading. My question is kind of like, you're saying like the stickers were supposed to symbolize that this is like the premium for the grade. And now we're having a situation where a lot of the CAC grading coins are often like thought to be very harshly graded, somewhat like even like worse than what a PCGS coin with a CAC sticker would be, if you understand what I mean. And then a lot of coins get in detail and then resubmitted to PCGS or NBC and not getting details graded. What do you think about that? Do you think that stickers are going to remain relevant, or if it's going to kind of fade away as CAC is more involved in the grade?
Okay,
So
that one did not come through very well.
Okay.
You're fine. So you're saying earlier that we have the three main grading services: PCGS, NGC, and CAC. And in the past, we've had the CAC stickers on other coins. But as CAC has been grading more coins, some of the feedback has been that they're grading more strictly, more harshly, and a lot of coins have been coming back as details. And so some people are then resubmitting those coins back to PCGS or NGC. So what are your thoughts about the future of stickers on coins from CAC versus them as a grader, et cetera?
So I think that, John Albanese is an extremely capable and competent coin grader and coin expert, honesty above reproach. And I know that he is trying to do the best job possible with CAC grading. And I believe that the CAC graded coins are supposed to be the same as the coins that they put a green sticker on before. Is that right? And I'm looking at the kids over here for assurance because but I've heard that too. And if I think the marketplace will bear it out. You know, if you send a coin to CAC and you think they grade it too tight, and you can send it to another grading service and get a better grade on it and get a higher price for it, that's where people are going to be submitting their coins. So, you know, I think it remains to be seen. I mean, you know, we fully acknowledge all three services, and there's always been arbitrage between coin grading services, and even within coin grading services, people buy PCGS coins and break them out to resubmit them to get a higher grade if they thought that the PCGS graded it too strictly to begin with, and the same with NGC. And so people are going to continue to break coins out of CAC holders and submit them to PCGS and NGC and vice versa. And you know, we'll see how it all plays out.
All right. Regarding world coins, would Heritage consider adding the KM number to the search filter options in addition to grade, price, year, etc.?
My partner, Chris Berenbach, who runs our international numismatics department, is the person to ask that question to. So Chris, CRISB at HA.com.
There we go. All right. Anyone in the room?
Yes, Daryl.
What US coin trends do you see in a low, I guess a low interest rate environment like 2022 versus a higher interest rate environment in 2023?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
What US coin trends in general you see in a low interest rate environment like in 2022 versus a higher interest rate environment like now or late 2023?
So did that come through?
Let's repeat that one.
Okay, go ahead.
So what coin trends do you see in a high interest rate environment, or pardon me, in a low interest rate environment like it was in 2022 versus a higher rate environment like now or late last year?
I think interest rates do have quite a bit to do with coin trading. I was talking with a major dealer who was sitting at our table at Central States here today, who said he had $2 million worth of dead inventory he hadn't been able to sell, and could he give it to us to auction for him, because he could now earn $100,000 a year in interest on that money, which is better than he's doing having it sit on the shelf. So that brings more coins to market. Now, when interest rates are lower, if someone is using leverage to collect, and I do not recommend that at all, or leverage to deal, then their costs, of course, are lower. Their cost of doing business is lower. You know, I think that if you're borrowing, you shouldn't be borrowing money for your home, first of all, unless it's very short term. You know, you've got a bonus coming in, you know, you're selling a piece of property, you know, you've got another coin you're going to be selling, and you're going to pay back the loan. That should be the only time that you borrow money for it. You know, low interest rates for people that don't mind having debt certainly causes people to buy things they wouldn't normally buy, and maybe they should or maybe they shouldn't buy them. I don't know if that answered the question or not. Yeah. Okay.
All right. Can you comment on the market for World War II militaria and short snorters?
I think that the short snorter project, which is run from Seattle, from the Boeing Coin Club, is something that Heritage has supported, and we think is an extremely cool project. So if you go online and Google short snorter project Boeing Coin Club, and you're interested in that, you can connect with them right away. I think they're very neat. They're great history.
All right, in the room.
Mark.
Aside from stamps, are there any other collectible categories that Heritage would not handle?
Okay. We would not handle anything that had to do with being Nazi memorabilia, for example. Something that's in, you know, incredibly poor taste. We wouldn't handle that. So that's probably a good example. You know, there have been things that we've looked at and thought were violations of someone's privacy, a famous person's personal diary, for example. I declined an extremely famous person's personal diary just recently because I thought it was in horrid taste to sell something like that. I'm sure they'll find somebody to sell it, but it's not going to be us. Yes.
Does not memorabilia include sort of like coins, not built or having some approach.
Repeat that one. Does Nazir memorabilia involve or include not geld coins from that era, etc.? Yes.
Yeah, Mark, do you know the answer? Do we?
I don't think that would conflict with Nazi memorabilia. The not guild, if I understand correctly, is more from the early 20th century, like 1920s or earlier. So I don't think that's a conflict.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
Famous for Hindenburg coins. Hindenburg coins. I'm sure that Greg mentioned Chris Bierenbach's email address. He's probably the person to answer that question also.
How is fraud and other bad behavior affecting today's market?
I think that there's a lot of fraud on eBay. I see it myself when my wife orders something and it says that the seller is, a small store in Missouri and it comes from China wrapped in, rice paper, and it's purely fake what it was that she ordered. And I've done the same thing. I've ordered something, as a gift, thinking that I was buying, a Tiffany and Company silver frame, and it came from, some odd country, and it was not silver and it was not Tiffany and any of those things. I think eBay needs to do a better job policing. I really do. I see fake. One of the categories that Heritage is active in is we are one of the largest resellers in the world of Hermes purses, which Hermes is the most expensive luxury brand in the world. And we've sold the purses for as much as $250,000. And I see fake Hermes purses on eBay all the time. There's probably more fakes than there are real ones. And I think that's a big problem.
All right, in the room? I don't see any hands, so we're going to take another one from online. How do you think the coin market could be made more accessible and inclusive to a wider range of collectors? And what steps could be taken to promote greater diversity and representation?
Well, I think that the internet has opened up coin collecting to the entire world. And I think that collecting is colorblind. It's open to everyone, regardless of who you are or where you're from or what you look like. It doesn't make any difference at all. And certainly that's how we run Heritage. We are an open and equal employer to anyone. If you can do the job and you're qualified and skilled, come on down.
All right. Anyone in the room?
Zach.
So I ran across it this show, ran across it online way more, but I started to see things like a lot of people there's a lot of people that are just getting into coins or whatnot, but then they are using YouTube videos or fake things in order to think all the coins that they've found are error coins in some way. In 1982, that's a small date Denver Mint-Mark copper coin that's actually zinc or actually roached or whatnot. Do you think there's a way to get those people to actually be involved in buying quality coins that are lower price, or do you think it's kind of a lost cause? That's the way you get into collecting is through misinformation that you're probably going to give up this thing because you get discouraged.
I'm going to repeat that one. So a lot of the newer people that he's seen getting into the hobby are relying on YouTube videos or TikToks or that type of thing for information that are not very reliable. And so all of the coins they have they think they're errors and they're really not worth anything. So do you think there's any way to kind of help those people get into the hobby more legitimately, or is it kind of a lost cause if that's all they've been exposed to begin with?
I'd like to say that nothing's really lost cause. And I do look at the social media groups myself because I travel a lot and, you know, I'm stuck waiting for delayed airplanes. And so I'm on looking at the coin collecting Facebook groups just to see what's going on and what people are talking about. And a lot of the people that you're referring to that have misinformation, that think they have something rare and they have nothing. Fortunately, if they go on to one of the social media groups, there's always a plethora of people to tell them that no, they don't have anything, and that's not rare, and that video that you saw is spam and it's nothing. So, you know, it certainly appears that we're not going to be able to do much about misinformation and misleading TikTok videos, but as far as coins go, you know, if the person, you know, takes it further and goes and does some research online or gets into a chat room, somebody is going to set them straight from what I can see.
All right.
Yes.
Do you feel like the collectible space competes across categories, or do you feel like it's an industry in general that blooms or rises all different areas of collectibles? I guess is it a total market of collectibles, or their possibility for the rising tide?
So yeah, I always like the rising tide raising all the boats. Because we're in 50 different categories, I can say that people who have the genetic defect of a collector, like I do, that if they just get in, the average person that collects, that from what all the research that we've done, all the surveys we've done, they collect in 6 different categories. I know that I collect in at least 6 different categories, probably more. And if you are a collector, and in Heritage's case, you're comfortable, you like doing business with us, you know that it's totally transparent, you know that there's no, you know, chandelier bids or games being played, and you are used to buying coins from us, and all of a sudden you see that we sell wine, and you like buying good wine, and you notice that the wine that you like to buy every once in a while for $200 a bottle, you can buy it on our website in our auctions for 120. And you're comfortable dealing with us because you've been doing so with coins. That's a very easy step over to start buying wine from us. And you want to get your spouse a gift for Christmas, and you're thinking a piece of jewelry, and you know that going into a jewelry store, you're going to pay a massive markup, you know, 300% probably. And you can go onto our website and look at all the jewelry that's there. And a lot of the diamonds have GIA certificates, and know that you're just paying one bid more. So I think it's very easy for people to cross over from one collecting category to another. And in fact, we encourage it. One of my favorite short stories involves Jim Halperin. That the very first year that Warren Buffett auctioned off lunch with himself. Now dinner goes for millions of dollars. And I think it goes to Make-A-Wish Foundation. It was Make-A-Wish Foundation the first year he did it. And Jim has always been a big investor personally in Berkshire Hathaway, which has been great. And so Jim bought, and Warren Buffett was his idol. I think but his idol, but he was, you know, incredibly impressed with Warren as a person and his business acumen. Jim's a brilliant businessman. And so Jim bought the very first lunch, and you don't have to believe me, you can look at the book of Permanent Value about Warren Buffett and look up Jim Halperin, it's in there. And I think he paid $58,000 to have lunch with Warren Buffett. But as he said, the money went to Make-A-Wish Foundation, which he would have donated to anyway. It was a great cause, and he got to have lunch with Warren Buffett. So Jim then started going to the annual shareholders meetings in Omaha for Berkshire every year. And Warren would invite him over to the office for a half hour of visiting. And Jim loved that. Who wouldn't? And so one year, Jim said to Warren, he said, I know we send you all of our catalogs in other categories, and you probably don't want to receive all of our catalogs in other categories. If you want to have your assistant tell me the categories that you want, we'll stop sending you all of our catalogs. And he goes, no. Keep sending them to me. Keep sending them to me, because I give them away to the other executives here. He says, I was with Bill last weekend, you know, which Bill he's talking about. And I give him your paintings catalogs. Did you know that he just paid $43 million for a painting for his house in San Francisco? And Jim said, I didn't even know he had a house in San Francisco. And Morris says, oh yeah, it's a very nice house. And he said, so I give Bill your paintings catalogs, keep sending them to me. That's a really extreme example of cross marketing, but it's my favorite one ever. I don't think I'm ever going to get a better story than that.
Excellent.
Anything else? Sure.
With the advent of fake slab coins and coins in general, does Heritage themselves look at the coin and make sure it's guaranteed that it is what it is, or that they have an outside just because it's slabs, it's an NGC, it may not be what it is. Do they have something separate? They look at it and authenticate it themselves.
Yes, we absolutely do. We were involved in identifying. I was personally involved the very first time there was fake PCGS slabs. 30 years ago that came out involving Gary Fernandez, a dealer in California. I was intimately involved in. I noticed those coins. I was the one that noticed the fake slab coins and ran down the hall and showed them to Jim and Steve and said, these are wrong. And that's what started the identification of the fake slab coins. We have, I don't know how many people we have in our coin department, but maybe 100 in our coin department, including people that have worked for PCGS, NGC, ANAX, the top experts. It's kind of like, you know, if you're a coin expert, you want to, you know, if you're a baseball player, you want to play for the Yankees and coin experts, I think we have the best ones. I think we have by far the best team there is. And the answer to your question is absolutely. Coins that we buy, coins that we sell, coins that people consign to us, we look at those and make sure that they are what they say they are, that they are not fake, because we also give people loans, advances against their auction proceeds. So if you have a $100,000 coin collection and you've got a need for $50,000 in cash right away, we'll lend you the $50,000. We'll charge you a little bit of interest, usually. And so we want to make sure we're not lending against fake slabs. So everything goes through an approval process.
Okay, we have a very niche question from online. Do you have any commentary about North Carolina Nationals?
Yeah, I do. I helped put together one of the best collections of North Carolina Nationals for one of our clients, and that we auctioned that. You can go online on the ha.com archives and look up Greensboro, as in Greensboro, North Carolina, and look that up. So yeah, I've been involved with the collector who put that collection together.
There you go. Okay, and we do have someone online who missed the name of the person to direct a question about the KM numbers too, if you can repeat that email.
Oh, sure. Chris Berenbach, CRISB @ha.com.
There we go.
Okay.
All right, then that is all we currently have online. So if you are online, get in any last minute questions. We have a few minutes left. Otherwise, last call for in the room.
Are you planning to write a book?
Pardon?
Are you planning to write a book?
Are you planning to write a book?
I have a more than a full-time job at the present time. It's busy as can be. I'm actually one of the luckiest people there are, because I get to do what I've loved doing my entire life for my career. And my wife and I don't have kids, and so I collect friends, and I'm still friends with just about every consignor that I have worked with over the last 40 years, and with coin dealers. I've walked the floor here and talked to coin dealers and realized they've known me since I was 14, 15, 16, 18 years old. And I don't know if I would write a book or not. I maybe when I'm, you know, older and retired and, you know, bored out of my mind, I could do that. But interesting idea. Thank you.
I'd like to suggest some topics offline.
Okay.
All right, then I think that's going to wrap us up. Thank you so much for
Thank
taking
you.
the time to present.
Thank you to Central States and the Newman Foundation. This has been fun. Thanks.
All right, then we'll be back at 4:30 with Elizabeth Coggin and the Women of Numismatics, and we hope to see you back.
Great. Thanks again.